The Los Angeles Lakers are expected to leave no stone unturned in their attempt to build a contending roster around Luka Doncic. Rob Pelinka will undoubtedly be driven to give the superstar forward a contending-level supporting cast. When Desmond Bane was traded to the Orlando Magic on Sunday, June 15th, some Lakers fans likely began dreaming of a potential deal to acquire Jaren Jackson Jr. The Memphis Grizzlies' big man would provide elite-level defense, rebounding, and an interior scoring presence. However, in a June 16th episode of ESPN's Get Up, NBA insider Brian Windhorst killed all talk of a potential Jackson to Lakers deal. No chance, Windhorst said when asked if Jackson could be dealt to the Lakers. No chance. Absolutely not worth a discussion. Look, I think Jaren Jackson is now in a position to sign a contract extension of over $200 million. I would feel very strongly that's going to happen. Jackson Jr. is a linchpin in the Grizzlies' rotation. It's highly unlikely the front office moves on from him unless they opt to enter a full-scale rebuild. As such, Pelinka's search for a new starting-caliber big man will continue. Ideally, he will covet a rim-running big that can provide vertical spacing as a genuine lob threat. Lakers reportedly intrigued by Walker Kessler. Another big man, Pelinka, who could show interest this summer, is Walker Kessler. According to ESPN's Dave McMenamin, speaking via ESPN Radio 700, the Lakers remain intrigued by the Utah Jazz's shot-blocking center. The only thing on that front is that Walker Kessler remains a name the Lakers are intrigued by, McMenamin said. Whether that will lead to any sort of deal, obviously last year the asking price was too steep, and obviously the Lakers ended up pivoting those assets that they were considering moving to the Jazz to get Kessler in order to do the Luka trade. That came off the table after the Luka trade. If they do revisit it, that remains a player that the Lakers feel could fill the void that they have at center. I'm not reporting anything's moving towards a deal or picking up steam or anything like that, but Kessler remains on the Lakers' radar. Kessler averaged 11.1 points and 12.2 rebounds last season. He also finished second in the NBA for blocks per game, sitting directly behind Victor Wembanyama. Lakers would need to be ambitious to land Kessler. In a recent article for Bleacher Report, Grant Hughes cited Kessler as an ambitious trade target for the Lakers. Walker Kessler has ranked in the 95th percentile or better in block rate among big men in each of his first 3 seasons, Hughes wrote. That kind of interior presence would transform a Los Angeles Lakers team that ranked 21st in blocks per 100 possessions and 25th in opponent field goal percentage at the rim last year. Of course, Kessler is another big who doesn't fit the rim runner mold. Pelinka may prefer to add a genuine lob threat to the rotation this summer. If that is the case, neither Jackson Jr. nor Kessler would make sense for the version of the Lakers that Pelinka is attempting to build. It's unlikely that LeBron James actually retires from basketball this offseason, but his basketball career could be coming to an end soon. He has played in the NBA for 22 years. Once he starts his 23rd season, he'll be the record holder for most NBA seasons played. If he retires soon, it likely won't be due to poor play. He was named All-NBA third team this season and continues to be an impact player for the Los Angeles Lakers. One player who doesn't want to see James go anytime soon is rookie guard Dalton Knecht. He's hoping the future Hall of Famer could play for another decade, and he wants to be alongside him. He said he can play another 5-10 years, Knecht said of James per TMZ. So, me and Bron could run it for another 5-10 years. Why not? Knecht nearly had his run with James cut short when the Lakers initially planned to trade him to the Charlotte Hornets in a deal for Mark Williams. The trade fell through due to a failed physical, but Knecht wasn't able to get a big role in the rotation after the failed trade. If he stays on the team next season, he should have a chance to play a lot more minutes with James in what could be his last season. James would be number 1 free agent if he declines player option. James has a number of big decisions to make this offseason. The first one is whether or not he wants to continue playing basketball, and the other is where he wants to play basketball. He has a player option on his contract, so he can become a free agent if he'd like. If that happens, former NBA executive John Hollinger believes he'd be the number 1 free agent available this offseason. James has a player option for $52.6 million. Yes, his BORD dollar value nearly matches his contract to the dollar, and his decision on his next contract could go a few ways, Hollinger wrote for The Athletic. Opting in is the most straightforward, and he has a no-trade clause that would carry over. However, there's also a chance he could opt out and re-sign at a lower number to help the Lakers use their non-taxpayer MLE to add more talent below the first apron threshold, something that likely would be done in exchange for a 2026 to 27 player option. For instance, if the Lakers stretched Maxi Kleber and James took a $5 million haircut, the Lakers could use the entire non-taxpayer MLE, most likely on one of the free agent centers listed below. James could sign a no-trade clause in any new contract, but that would be a brand new negotiation. James unlikely to leave LA. With the news that James is working on building a mansion in Los Angeles, it's hard to imagine he wants to move again at this stage in his career. Obviously, he can play in New York and still have his Los Angeles mansion waiting for him when he retires, but he's already embraced the city. There are only so many years left he can play, so it seems more likely that he'll want to be in a city that he's comfortable in. The Los Angeles Lakers could do with having a strong defensive presence in their backcourt, and they've now been linked to one. Bovada Sportsbook has the Lakers as one of the frontrunners to be Washington Wizards guard Marcus Smart's next team. The Sacramento Kings have been listed as the favorites at plus 150, with the Lakers right behind them at plus 200. Surprisingly, the Memphis Grizzlies, who traded Smart to the Wizards at the deadline earlier this year, are the third favorite at plus 285. Smart averaged 9.0 points, 2.1 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.3 blocks per game for the Grizzlies and Wizards in 2024-25. The 31-year-old wasn't quite at his best, and the reason for that was injuries. Smart played just 34 games this season, and his health has become a major concern at this point. It was one of the reasons why the Grizzlies decided to part ways just over a year after acquiring him from the Boston Celtics in 2023. The Grizzlies had hoped that Smart, who won Defensive Player of the Year in 2022, would elevate their team, but he just wasn't able to stay on the court. He would first miss 17 games in the 2023-24 campaign with a foot sprain, and a right ring finger injury would then cause him to miss the last few months of the season. Smart appeared in just 20 games in his debut season for the Grizzlies, and they had just about had enough after he missed time at the start of this campaign as well. So, there is a big risk involved for any team that would be acquiring him. These injuries are a big reason why no one was all too surprised when NBA insider Matt Moore reported there isn't much interest in Smart. The Wizards would like to move Marcus Smart to a contender, but there's been little interest so far. He might be one of the guys moved in the latter days of free agency after teams strike out on other targets. The best ability is availability. It doesn't matter how great you are if you can't stay healthy. It's why a bidding war appears unlikely for Smart, especially when you also consider he will make $21.6 million in the 2025-26 season. It is the last year of his contract, so this won't be a long-term commitment, but it's still a lot of money. Should the Lakers take a gamble and acquire Smart? Well, if they have to give up any valuable asset, then the answer would be no. If the Wizards are willing to accept a package that includes a second-round pick and Maxi Kleber, expiring contract, along with Gabe Vincent, expiring contract, or Jared Vanderbilt, then it would be worth the risk. You could argue Smart is worth more, but the contract figure and the injury history mean it would make sense to part with the likes of Rui Hachimura and Dalton Knecht. If the Lakers acquire Smart and he manages to stay healthy, then he'd be a pretty good addition. They were interested in him in the past, and for good reason. The Lakers have not been a great defensive team in recent years and ranked 17th in defensive rating 113.8 in 2024-25. Any upgrades on that end of the floor would be welcome.